Hi, everybody. Karen Roby here with Adrian Kingsley-Hughes with ZDNet. We're talking today about Samsung coming out of the gate here with the Galaxy Note 10 with the 5G capabilities. So, Adrian, let's just start with Samsung before we get to Apple when it comes here to 5G.
So Samsung's just unveiled the Galaxy Note 10, and lo and behold, it's got 5G capability on it. And it's not the first Android phone to have 5G capability on it, but we're definitely, if we pull in all the rumors together and all the supply chain information and tittle tattle that's leaking out of kind of everywhere at the moment about the iPhone will not have 5G this year, despite the fact that Apple paid money to buy Intel's failed 5G modem business. And that's going to get a lot of people wondering, well, why? Why is Apple playing a sit back and wait game while everybody else rushes out the gate with 5G phones? And I think the answer is obvious. When we're looking at reviews of the Galaxy Note 10, people using the 5G capability of it, it's very mixed. And that's the problem. It's a cutting edge feature. Sure is cool if you live somewhere and you've got it. But the problem with putting something like 5G on the packaging for an iPhone is that everybody thinks, well, I'm going to get 5G too, and it's going to be awesome. And if it isn't, people are going to start wailing about it, and they're going to wail big, and they're going to complain at Apple, and they're going to say, where's my 5G? And I think Apple's doing the right thing in just saying, do you know what? We're going to sit back for a year, let the whole thing settle down. Doesn't matter if people are first, because after all, look at what happened with Samsung with their folding phone and Google with their glasses. Doesn't pay to be first. So I think they're just going to play a wait and see game.
Okay, and Adrian, of course, as we've talked about many times, Apple tends to sit back a little bit and watch Samsung as they come out of the gate first with this new technology so often, but it doesn't always pan out for Samsung.
No, it doesn't. You see, the thing with companies like Samsung and stuff like that is that they actually need new, exciting features to sell phones and to hype their new stuff. Apple doesn't. Apple could essentially release an iPhone of a different color and everybody would be pretty much excited about it, and people would upgrade. I think if it was just slightly faster processor, slightly better camera, I think that's fine, because that's essentially what we've seen over the past few years. But Android makers are having to differentiate, and I think 5G is a good technology to put into new stuff if you want to differentiate. Also, maybe for future-proofing, but again, Apple's not really that big on future-proofing. If your iPhone lasts a few years, it's fine. Apple really want you to buy one every year, so they don't care. I think they're just going to sit back and wait, because they don't need to. They don't need to be first. They don't need to rush out, let everybody fall first, and then pick up all the cash behind them. And anyway, when Apple releases an iPhone with 5G, they will pretend that they are the first and they're the best and they're the only one, that they invented 5G anyway. And people will be like going, wow, this 5G thing on the iPhone, this is new, isn't it? And it doesn't matter. That's exactly what Apple want. They don't care. It doesn't have to be first, doesn't have to be new. That's how they work. That's how they roll.
All right, and Adrian, where's AT&T in this?
Well, AT&T are sitting back and waiting too. It could be that they're just sitting back and waiting because they want all the carriers to invest money into this and break their backs putting it in, and they can just kind of roll and do it at a much slower pace. Or again, they could just be waiting for things to settle. And again, does AT&T really need 5G at the moment? Probably doesn't. It's in a similar position to Apple, where it can just sit back and wait. People aren't going to migrate to 5G, especially if there's some kind of element of hit and miss over it. And if people do migrate and they're unhappy, well, they're going to be coming back then with tales of woe, and they're probably going to be a better customer for AT&T because they've gone somewhere else and be disappointed. Again, like Apple, there's always companies that want to sit back and wait, and I think AT&T's done the right thing here.
And Adrian, as we wrap up here, talk a little bit about the customers. Where are they in their desire for and reaction to news of 5G?
Well, I think the interesting thing is to see what people think. What do random Joe Public who are going to spend $1,000 on a phone going to think about 5G? Are they going to be happy? Are they going to be disappointed? I think you're going to see some people say this is amazing. And I remember the same thing when 4G came out and 3G came out. It's the same. There's always that buzz about having lightning fast speeds. But I think I think people who need that kind of speed are probably at the cutting edge of it anyway. And at the moment, it's just not, there's just not enough demand for it. But I think in a year's time, that's when the demand is going to be there. I think everybody's going to kind of jump for it at that point. I think that's the place to be then in a year's time, when the iPhone 2020, which actually does look like it's going to be quite a more revolutionary rather than just evolutionary kind of release. So I think that's when 5G is going to hit mainstream.
Adrian, thank you so much for that. We'll see how it all pans out. Should be really interesting by the time we hit 2020. For more on Adrian's full article, where Apple, Samsung, AT&T, and all the others fit in with 5G, make sure you check out ZDNet.